Welcome to another afternoon of GMTips. Ricky, I'm the GM here. I'm making these, I guess, because I have the time right now. And because I have players that are definitely interested in that. So I wanted to take some time. Hopefully I'm not blowing anybody's eardrums with this. You can hear a little bit of background music in the background. That is from Conan. I like to do that. And I like to kind of put things there for Conan and other soundtracks. They make great when you're creating characters and working with things. So this is going to be a two-part tutorial. One video, but two parts. We're going to look at creating characters both in Roll20 and also, as you guys will see, in DnDBeyond. Both areas can be used to make characters. DnDBeyond, subscription service-wise and even non-subscription service-wise, is really great. It gives you a lot of tools, and if you have the books that you have bought, it will allow you to make the characters you're looking to make. Now, the great part about Roll20 is it is really system agnostic, whereas DnDBeyond, you got to just make D&D. So if you want to make a Starfinder character, a D&D character, a Pathfinder 2e character, or a Shadowrun character, you can do that in Roll20. Even other games that are tabletop RPGs. Today we're just going to focus mainly on D&D, and for multiple reasons. Now, I will say this. We are in a campaign right now. I'm going to be starting a new campaign, as you can see over there, Eberron, Shadows of the Last War. I'm going to make characters in that because I want also this to be available to my players, some of which are very new to the game. And so hopefully all of you will appreciate the ease of making these type of character sheets. Now, when you get really good, you can make a custom sheet in the sandbox for your characters, for your system. I don't suggest that to the dungeon masters and game masters starting out. Maybe even not to the experienced ones until you really know and have in mind what you want your sheet to look like. So you're going to create a game, and you can use the Create a New Game tab to set up the game. You can select the system you want. You can also select the materials you want to share. Now, let's go into Shadows of the Last War. I'll show you what I mean by that. For instance, here's Shadows of the Last War. When I go under the settings, so, again, here, you can pick the type of system you're using. In this case, it's D&D 5e, but as you can see, there's a list, a whole list. You can do 3.5, 4e, Cyberpunk 2020, Cyberpunk Red, Earth Dawn. There's just a ton of things. GURPS. Depending on the system you like, you can put it in here. Then, you can do any add-ons. So if you buy any add-on things like modules and maps and other things, you can make those active in the game add-ons. And then you can post updates about when the game's going to be, when the next game's going to be, and letting people know about what's going on. You also can enable tokens. So, for instance, if I wanted to create a set of tokens, I can do that. But let's say I want this one. So I'm putting in monsters. So I can put monsters in here and update it. Then, as you look, I can add more. So let's put in another one. I want non-player characters, which are NPCs. I can update it and put it in there, and I've got the tokens ready. Then under settings, so game settings, this is what's key. Allow public access to the game. This either allows it open to anybody who wants to view your game and come in and look, or no, I want to just keep it to the players that I invited, and I put no. You can put in a custom background image, so that background image you saw me start with, you can put in your own background image. Allow characters to import, or players to import their characters. Now this is an exciting feature because if a player makes a character in D&D Beyond and wants to export it and knows how to export it, they can then import it in, and it will fill in the character sheet with all their information. Yes, I know one of my players right now is going to want to thunk me, and she has every right to. But I didn't want to go through this process and screw it up and then that player being upset. This is only if you're used to the system and know how to work with it, okay? So don't force your players to do that initially. It's just difficult to do. All right, so compendium settings. Whoops. All right. So here, depending on what you have, okay, you can allow players to access your compendium as long as it's owned. So what have I given the players access to? Candlekeep Mysteries and any information there for their characters. Deep Magic from Kobold Press. Dungeons Master's Guide. The Eberron Last War Rising, Rising of the Last War, which is a key one for my group in this one. Explorer's Guide to Wildmont. So those of you that like Matt Mercer and Exandria and the Critical Role, that's the book from that. Essentials Kit. So that's the Essentials box set that you can get that has information. I've got the Margrave Player's Guide, so for Kobold Press, and the Midgard Heroes. So I really wanted to let them have a lot of access. I can do that for my realm, or I can say no. So you can check this or uncheck it. And what you do is you go like this. You click it, and it's checked, or like this, it's unchecked. And it will allow them an update for them, the information available. So I want Mythic Odysseys of Theros. In this case, I say no, but if I purchased it, I can give them those type of creatures in there. Same for any of these books. So this is the feature where really you're going to enable your players to be able to look at the compendiums, view different things, and be able to work with those. So pick which ones you want them to look at. Now you can do the character sheet, and I usually go with D&D 5e by Roll20. Though there's Middle-earth, there's Darker Dungeons, there's community ones. I like this one because it's a fairly straightforward sheet. Okay. Now, roll queries. You can have it always roll advantage if you want to give your players that thing. Advantage toggle or query advantage. So, say you tell your character roll with advantage. They can click on their attribute over here. And they can query it. It'll come up. And they pick whether they roll with advantage, roll with disadvantage, or just normal roll it. Okay. You can set to where people can whisper to the DM. If you want automatic damage roll, that's great. I would say this, don't roll auto damage. So I'm going to change that in this campaign. They then, okay, so when they click on the weapon over here, they go up here, they click on any weapons they may have in this section right here. It'll come up and roll the 20-sided dice and come up in your chat saying, here's the roll. Then they can click on the name of the weapon and in the chat section to then roll the damage. Okay? So this is, and again, it lets you pick your core dice. So if you don't use a d20 and use rolling 6s or 3d6s, this will allow you to set all that up. There's a lot of things you can set here. We'll do on another day for the DMs what to set on these. But let's just go ahead and go in. We'll save the changes. So now you want your characters, and those of you who are playing in a game, you want to create your characters. So let's do this. Let's get out of here, number one, since we saved the changes. And let's go to Shadows of the Last War. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to leave that. And then you do launch the game. You cannot create your character sheet until you launch the game. So you always want to launch. All right. So here's where the fun begins, all right, for all of you. And again, this video hopefully won't go more than 35 minutes, but I want to take you through and be thorough enough that somebody can create a character sheet. So it comes up with your standard boot start window. You go over here. This is your chat menu. So if you want to look at chat, you can look at chat, what was rolled, anything like that. It keeps a history until you clear it. This is for tokens and art. So if you want to drag and drop tokens onto your playing points or art, you can do it from right here. Or you can click it for your character sheets if you want to pick art for your character. Okay, see there's my start. There's some of the tokens that I have there. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go create. You can see some of the players already have things in here. That's great. I'm going to add, and you can add several things when you're doing this as a dungeon master. A character, a handout, or a folder. You want to create a character. Now, players, if you're logging in, like you see this one here that says, where is it? The character name. Sometimes I will put, so I'll put, in this case, Bubba placeholder. Now, what that does is then when Bubba joins, I can assign a player to this. So here's some of my players' names. So say I want Chibi Hubby to have it. That's me in this case. I will go here and select it. This is in the player's journals then. When you start up your Roll20 and you go into this game, from now on, this character sheet will be in your journals when you pull over here to the Journal tab. And it can be edited and controlled by whichever player you want. So say, Rick M. the GM, this is his character. I want him to be able to go in and, his nickname is Bubba, so I'll have him work with Bubba. And he can change that name later to whatever he wants. But also, you can add more than one. So say I want Maury to have access while I'm away, so he can edit and control my character if I miss a session. This allows another player to run your character if you want and make addition changes to it and subtractions. You got to put them here and you got to put them here. Now, when you're done with having them do it, you just X out of them and you're done. Now here, let's do art. So let's say I've got some art here that I want to use. So let's just pick an image for kicks and giggles. All right. And I will go down here and I will pick, I don't know. Let's do a search. Let's just say I want a fighter. Okay. Boom. It will pull up every type of fighter there is in here. So let's say I want to be an aquatic elf, right? So I pull this over here. I put it here. Oops, it didn't go in there real good. Let's do a different one. Let's do, I love gnomes. So let's do a gnome. I'm going to drag and drop my gnome in here. So it will save the gnome picture. Then I can drag and drop the gnome art here on the start page, and I click on it and I go use select token. So it picks that token to be used with the character. For whatever reason, it's just doing a broken picture, but hopefully when I save it, you will see both. Nope, for some reason, don't want to do it. Normally it calls it up. All right, from there, one other thing before you close this. If you want to put information about the character, Bubba, in this case we'll say Sariel is a rock gnome from the realm of Zilargo. That's one of the countries. I can fill any other information there, and it will save there. Now, your DM or GM is going to put information here that they find significant about your character they want to remember, and then you can save it. All right, so let's expand this up a little bit. If you want to expand it, grab this, move this, and then all of a sudden it's visible. Let's go to the character sheet. So here is Bubba's placeholder. I don't want Bubba to be there. I want, let's say, her name is, what was it? It was Siriel. Is it Siriel or Sariel? Sorry, we'll do Sariel. So you save that. So now we see that the name is Sariel. And then I can go here, and there's the name, right? It puts it in all the character sheets, different pages. Use Charactermancer to start the stepping through. And this is great because Charactermancer step by step takes you through every time how to build your character. But not only that, if you go up a level, it will step you through putting in new stuff for that character. So let's go to next. All right, so the first things first is choose a race. Here's where you can choose whatever you want for the game. Now, these little abbreviations here, they have a guide in Roll20 to tell you. Like this one here is Exandria, I believe, on that one. That's the DM's guide. That's Volo's guide. So let's say, in this case, with this gnome, I just want to use a player's handbook gnome. It gives me my ability score. It talks a little bit about the gnome over here, tells you about them, the same information you'd find in the player's handbook. This information is put here. It also helps you with the names. That is very important, especially if I didn't have a name already picked out. So it gives you clan names, which is the last name, the female first names, and the male first names, and then nicknames. Okay? And then it tells you about your traits that you're going to get. Hey, your ability score is going to go up by 2 on intelligence. Your age is in this range, so they live up to 350 to almost 500 years old. What their alignments usually are, you pick because it's your character. You don't have to always follow this. Size, are they tall or short? It gives you that for later on and what their normal weight is. What their walking speed will be. Do they have any special vision? In this case, dark vision. Okay, and gnome cunning. This is a real key thing in the character. So you find out, do I got any special things? Well, in gnomes, you do. They give you advantage to rolls on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma in the saving throw department versus magic. Something real good to know, right? Gnomes are pretty resistant to magic. And then any languages you know. Plus, also it tells you there are sub-races, so just keep that in mind. So when you go down here, you can pick your alignment. In this case, I'll go chaotic, neutral. Just pick whatever. But you get all the different alignments. You can choose whichever you feel is best going to suit your character. There's your size, your speed, your languages, your gnome cunning we read about, the dark vision, and now there's several different types. There's deep gnomes. Or, in this case, that's Eberron, The Last War, ERLW. So that Arokara was for there. I want to be a scribing gnome. Why? Because those are the normal gnomes that are on Eberron. And you can see this symbol right here. That is their dragon mark of scribing that they have on their body. So look at that. All set out, gives me +1 to charisma, the gift of scribing. So I make an intelligent history roll or an ability check using calligrapher things. I can add a D4 to that roll to help me with that roll. And then what you get at higher levels. So it's kind of cool. And then some of the spells that I get for having that mark. So let's go to next. Okay, now you're in the section right here. That's your class. So what do you want to be? I'm going to say, let's be really way out on a limb. I want to make an artificer. Artificers are people that can build magic items. Now, you can use whatever you want. You want a wizard, you want a warlock, a sorcerer, a rogue, a ranger, monks, paladins, fighters. They do have some different ones. You'll have to check out where each one is different and see which one your DM allows and which one you want to choose. This is Tasha's Artificer. This is Eberron's Artificer. They're slightly different. Since I'm on Eberron, I'm going to use the Eberron one. Skill proficiencies. So your class gives you certain skills that you can pick from the beginning. Now, keep in mind, you're going to pick some skills here, but when you pick a background, there may be you get that skill twice. Come back to the class and switch it to a different skill once that's the case. So in this case, I'm going to say Arcana, since they work with magic. And yeah, History sounds good. So we're going to use those two. Now, what kind of tools? Well, there's already some proficiency that gnome is proficient with. That's tinkering stuff and thieves' tools. So maybe I want to use calligraphy because he's a scribe gnome. Works, right? It tells you what you get at first level for your class stuff. So you're going to get tinkering and spell casting. And it gives you a description you can read. And then what kind of starting equipment you get if you choose the starting equipment versus money. So go next. Your ability score. There's several ways you can do abilities. The standard array gives you some standard scores and so many points that you can put in to raise them to a higher stat. Okay, that's one way to do it. There's a point buy system that you can use. I normally roll for stats. So in my case, let's roll this and see what happens. Bada bing. All right. Wow, look at all that. So there's some really cool stuff here I can work with. I want him to have at least a 12 strength. I want him to be quick. So let's do a 14 here. Constitution, that's how well you are physically. I don't think I want him to be weak there. His intelligence, I'm going to make that higher. Again, want him to have good there. I'm going to be really fun, and I'm going to put the 6 in the wisdom, which means things like perception and wisdom stats he's not going to be as good at. But then again, he may not be that kind of guy that does a lot of adventuring in the wild. And then charisma, which in this case will be one of his better stats, I'm going to put some stuff in there. But actually, because I know he gets a +1 for charisma, I'm going to flip-flop this. I know he's going to have a 16 once I do this. Watch this. And so it puts in your racial ability pluses as well. So his strength is only 12, his dex is 14, con 12, 18 intelligence. Very smart. Not very wise, though, but has a great charisma to influence people. You can massage that however you want, but that then sets that for you. So now we're on to backgrounds. Let's choose a background. So I will say, because he is from Eberron, that he is going to be a house agent. That means you can be one of many things serving the house. In this case, I'm serving Sabbath, so calligraphy and forgery. I'm going to pick Sivas because that's his house, right? It gives me investigation as persuasion as class skills. Those don't conflict with the 2 I chose. In fact, it works out really well. Now, how are you connected to the house? What kind of roles do you have? Acquisition, that is acquiring items or buying items. Investigation, that's looking into maybe incidents against the guild and other things that people might hire you for to look into. Research and development, you're part of the R&D team for new magic items or new calligraphy or new mapping. Security, you keep the security of the guild itself. Intimidation, you are an enforcer for the guild that goes out and intimidates people not to cross them. Explorer, you love to go out and explore new things. A negotiator, somebody that goes between the guilds and negotiates, and even maybe among the cities and the councils. And then covert operations. Now, I'm going to pick investigation. I think it'd be fun to have a gnome investigator. Then it gives you some traits, personality traits could go with this. So, I'm always working to improve efficiency. Not with a gnome, I'm not. I love to share trivia about my house's business. Okay. I'm enthusiastic about everything my house does. I'm one of those guys going to be like, rah, rah, rah. Love my house. I'm critical of monarchies and limits on the houses. Why do those dang monarchies have to tell our house what to do? Ideal. Comfort. I enjoy comfort. By God, I want the best sweets, the best drinks, the best everything. So I'm going to choose that as the ideal for my gnome. The bond. My house is my family, and I would do anything for it. Absolutely. Hang on real quick here. I'll be right back. All right, back again. So flaws. What kind of flaws? Am I fixated on the official protocols? Probably not. I'm obsessed with conspiracies and worry about secret societies and hidden demons. Oh, heck yes. Why not a conspiracy theorist? This will be a fun gnome. So then I can go next, and I go into the equipment. Now, there are several ways you can choose this. Number one, you can choose the class equipment, and they'll give you a remaining amount of gold. Or you can buy things. Here's the advantage. If you know how to put items into Roll20, and you like starting with a good starting wealth, then do that and roll how much gold you have, and then you populate the things. If you're not very good at that, then I suggest class equipment. It'll give you some choices. You go through the choices. It populates all the fields where you need it for the weapons and the armor. It gets everything ready, and it all works together very smoothly. I like that. Even as a DM, I don't have time to populate everything, so I don't want to do that. So I get any 2 simple weapons. Let's see what he would have. Does he want a club, a dagger, a great club? Ooh, that could be fun. A hand axe. I'm going to go with a light crossbow for shooting things. And then I'm going to go with an axe when he's in hand-to-hand. Now, does he want studded leather or scale mail? Studded leather is lighter. If your dex is better, you want to choose that. If you got a medium dex, so-so, then choose the scale mail. I'm going to choose the scale mail. All right, so he's ready to go. And here's what he gets with it from his background. A set of fine clothes, a signet ring, identifying his house, identification papers, and a purse full of money. We like money. All right, so then it's populated your equipment for you. In some cases, you'll get to choose like an explorer's pack or a dungeoneer's pack or an envoy pack. You choose what equipment you think will suit your character. Now you're into spells, if you're a spellcaster. So you can go in. The great part about it is, so for instance, if I want to know what Booming Blade is, I can go here and then click that. So I choose Booming Blade, and it tells me everything I want to know about that. You brandish a weapon used in the spellcasting and make a melee hit against a creature in 5 feet. On the hit, the target suffers the weapon's attack damage and becomes sheathed in booming energy until the start of your next turn. So like a thunder crack, it hits them and keeps going boom, boom. I like that idea, right? So I'm going to take that. Now, I might want to have something that goes a lot along my guild. So maybe guidance to help me to do better at things on my skill rolls. Maybe I like a firebolt and want to hit them with a firebolt. Maybe I like to keep things clean and neat. I always like prestidigitation, so I'm going to take it. Why? Because if you get gunk on you and other things, you can clean it up. So see, hit that and it'll tell you what it'll clean up, make, or do for you. And he gets comprehend languages as part of his house. That's really cool. So that's already a spell of his. Now he can choose different things. Let's look at Tasha's Caustic Brew, shall we? I can go with that if I like it. That's an acid brew. But say I don't like that, and I want to go with Sanctuary, and I want to check it out. Why, yes, Sanctuary protects me against creatures that will attack me. I like that idea. I'm taking that as a spell. And so on and so forth. I'm going to do Identify. Why? Because it'll tell me about magic items and how they're magically made. I like that idea being in this house. I like Catapult. Why? Because I can shoot things at people. I can pick up a rock or an object and fire it at them. That works for me. Then let's go here and say I want to go with Purify Food and Drink. I never know if that's going to go well or not, but let's just say Absorb Elements. Why Absorb Elements? Because it'll give me protection against certain types of elemental damage. I like that. And then finally, let's do a Cure Wounds, because God knows I'm going to get hurt in the field. All right, so I picked my spells. Now I go into any feats. Now, if you go up a level, you may have feats that you're working with. If not, this will be like this, and you can move forward. Now, usually you get feats the same time your ability score can increase. Look at those feats, because certain feats will increase an ability score as well as give you a feat. I'm always about feats over ability score increases. Call me silly, but usually if you can find a feat that does both, you get the best of both worlds. All right, so Biography. So now you got your character's name, Serial. Let's put in the age. Remember what we talked about? Gnomes are they can go up to like 500 years. Let's just say in this case, she is 65 years old. Her height was between 3 and 4 foot, so I'll put her 3 foot 4 inches. So I use the 1 tick for feet, the 2 tick for inches. Weight, let's say she is 33 pounds. Her eyes are blue. Her hair is pink. And her skin is tan. And then we're ready to go. And you click Next. And your character is created. It goes through and tells you. So you got a summary here. You can look through here before you're ready to apply the changes. If you don't like something, you can go back and click on this. So say I didn't like one of the skills I picked. I could go back in here and still change it. So keep that in mind. And then you click back to review again. And you can go there. Then when you're done, you hit Apply Changes. And your changes are applied. Okay. So now you can see the fully populated sheet. Ooh, not so good. A -2 on wisdom, but I get a +3 here, a +4 there. It checks the two things that are my saving throws. And it checks any of my skill checks. And then here, it also does the same for these things. Now, if I want to add something, kaboom, I can add it. So say I want something else in there. I can put a boomerang right here. I can pick what attribute is used to attack with it on the roll of a d20. If it's a distance or a radius thing, it'll tell me. Like a spell, it'll tell me a 60-foot cone or a 30-foot cone. Any magical bonuses are added in. What your critical range is, a natural 20. And then you can also check and do any additional damage that, or you can do the damage. So in this case, say it's a d6. You just type in 1d6. I will pick Dex because I am going to go with a Wakazashi, or a short sword. And I'm going to put that there, short sword. It's a Japanese short sword. And so in this case, strength is not what I use. I use Dex because it is an agile weapon, or actually a finesse weapon. So finesse and light. I know that from looking at the charts. I can put that there. So now I close this and ta-da, +4 to hit, 1d6 +2. I can click on it. I want to do a normal roll and kaboom, look over in the chat score thing and there it is. Now, remember, I didn't put auto roll the damage. So then 23, if the DM says, yep, that hits, I click here and that's the damage it rolls. Just as if you're rolling the damage dice. And it adds in anything you needed added in. So that's that. All right. You can also add things here if you have special traits or abilities and pick where it comes from. Is it the race, the class, the feat, the background, something else? Maybe the DM gives you something special. You can put it in there. So say you put something in on accident and you don't want it. You hit this lock and you can hit this. So I put this in on accident. I want to delete it and I can relock it. Right as rain. Right? So now I want to check my bio. Remember we did our biography? Okay, it filled in the stuff up here I need. I can put a photo in here. I can do this. I can put any of these things in the backstory or any of that there. And then I can go to spells. And look, if I want to add or delete spells, I go like this to unlock to delete, or I can put this to add. See how fun that is and how easy that is? Now, the other thing about this is if you want to know what your spell does, put the I. It'll tell you here. It'll tell you what spell you want to pick from the information, and then click it again to close it. All right, that's that. That's a character sheet and creating it. So that's Roll20 and creating a character sheet. Pretty straightforward. You can also create character sheets on D&D Beyond. So let's go there real quick. I'm going to open my D&D Beyond. So say you don't want to use Roll20 and you want to use D&D Beyond. So you go under your name once you are set up with D&D Beyond. So you got to go through the steps, set up an account. A non-paid for account, you can make up to 6 character sheets. A paid for account per month, you can make as many as you want. I have a paid for account. They're not that expensive, right? This is information on me in case I want to change things about me. But say I want to go to characters. Boom. I go here and create a new character. You can do a quick build, which is real fast in case you want to pump out a character really fast. You don't care about going through and writing out everything. You can randomize it. So if you want a character built at random, it'll do it for you and hand it to you with pictures and all. Standard one, you take it in here. You can pick external pictures. So if you don't like one there and you want to go here, so let's go to Rick's files. You can do that. I can go here. I can go D&D. Where's my Rick's RPG shirts? There it is, Pathfinder and D&D art. So say I want to do a Furlbog. I'll pick a Furlbog. I like this one here. So set my portrait, and she is my Furlbog. And I'll call her Gemma. Okay? Now I can pick, do I want homebrew content to be available? Do I want critical role content? Of course I do. I like critical role. Rick and Morty content or non-core D&D. You can do that, and it will set it up to where you can use that. You want to roll dice for the stats and everything else. It enables it here. Optional features. You want optional class features? You can put that up there to have those available, or customize your origin. What type of advancement? Milestone or XP? I want XP. I like to go up by XP. Hit point type, fixed or manual? I like to roll mine. Feats, multi-class, and you go through and set all these things. And then you click this arrow for next. Then remember, we want resources. So, oops, I hate when that does that. This gives you all the books you can look through that you have bought to do it from. I want to do a Furlbolg. So I go here and pick a Furlbolg, and it gives me a breakdown on everything. It asks me which score I want to increase, age, alignment, speed, magic, all that other stuff. So I choose a race. Anything you can add something, it will let you do this. So ability scores, it says it will increase my wisdom and my strength with that type of Furlbolg. I want to go with an alignment. It'll do that. All right, so I go next on this one. Now I can pick what I want to play. I want to do a Furlbolg Druid. So I'll pick that. It adds spellcasting in there, wild shape, and all these other things you can have as a Druid. It puts those in there. So now I have that. Proficiencies. You click on it because it has this. This will always tell you what to work with. So I'm going to choose some Druid skills. I like nature and I like survival because we're a survivor. Then it also tells me what kind of spells I'll have added later. So I hit next. Now we can do the method. Kind of similar to Roll20. I want to roll mine. I like to roll. So let's do this. Let's roll. Boom. 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 And boom. All right. This is going to be my wisdom. Charisma is a 9. Maybe not. I will do my con as a 9. I will do a 10 for strength. I will do a dex of 14. I will do a charisma of 15. And then my int will be 8. Not the brightest bulb in the world, but a happy thing. Now you have all these stats added in. Okay? So you can go apply. And then you see all the adjusted scores right here. The strength is really good because she gets a +2 to strength. My con is only a 9. It goes down. My intelligence is an 8. But everything else is looking real good. So not the most hittable thing. All right, so you can pick your background. I want to be a... I don't know. There's so many choices here, right? Let's go with an inheritor. So I inherited all the stuff I have. So I can pick my skills. I'm going to say let's do some athletics there so she can swim. And we will do religion so that she's good with religion. I'm going to say she likes to play the lute. And her language is, along with this, is halfling. All right. Now down here, you can pick your character details, your physical things. So, you know, I can pick her hair, which is I'll put pink. Skin is pale. Eyes are blue. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Eyes blue. Height, I will say she is 6'1" and she weighs 155 pounds. Her age, I'd say, is 24. Her gender is female, though you can go non-binary, they, them, however you want to do it, okay? Now you can go to the personality things, and I'm just going to say add traits, and we'll do random. I'm going to be fun. And we'll go here, same thing, random. And then here, Same thing, random. I like to spice it up a little bit, right? Let's just do some random ones I've never done before that I can role play. All right, so I am someone. If someone's in trouble, I'm always ready to lend help. Might. If I become strong, I can take what I want and deserve. Well, maybe I don't like that, so we'll say fairness instead. And then we'll do that. And I can edit and I can get rid of, if I want, this one here. So boom, I don't want that, but I do want the fairness. So there we go. And so on and so forth. So that's how you do things when it comes to that. Hang on real quick, I will be back. Alright, so that gives you what you can do. Now there's one more place that you can work with, and that's the notes. If you want to put any allies, organization, backstory, you just hit an add here. And with that, we finish out. You can either pick your starting equipment or gold. I'm going to go with gold and pick my own, so I can roll here and say randomize. Boom. Alright, so there's my gold. And then next, and I'm done, and I can view my character sheet. Or I can export it. So that's how you build one in D&D Beyond. All right, everybody, thank you for taking 40 minutes with me. I know the two methods took a little longer. I hope everybody enjoyed. If you got any questions, let me know in the video section under the notes and YouTube. And otherwise, have a wonderful week.